Unfortunately, you read the title correctly. The Miami Dolphins are apparently not franchise tagging Christian Wilkins. We will talk about that and kind of address the tampering period and how that helps teams losing potential free agents. What is up, Fin fans? Yes, unfortunately, the Miami Dolphins, per sources, pop it up for you, will not franchise tag standout defensive tackle Christian Wilkins, source says. Meaning a long-time pillar of Miami's defense will be a free agent. Wilkins will be one of the top free agents regardless of position. So I want to delve on that. I want to delve kind of on the whole Wilkins situation. I've talked about it a lot. I've talked about how everything has gone and all that stuff. So I want to talk about that and then talk about the tampering period. But before we get into that, I do have to shout out today's sponsor, and that is BetUS. You guys know about BetUS. I've talked about BetUS. Check them out. But without me rambling on too much about BetUS, let them explain it to you.
BetUS, America's favorite sportsbook and casino. Live betting and racebook. We're celebrating 30 years with a historic offer. A 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits. Plus 10% gambler's insurance. Get started today. BetUS, where the game begins.
BetUS is a super simple website that offers so much from football, basketball, ice hockey, baseball, golf, tennis, soccer. You can do casino, race booking, all that stuff. And it's real simple and easy. I'm just going to show you real quick. If you want to do the draft stuff, overall picks, right? You click on it, you hit display selected. You click on what you want to bet. And there you go. So it's like first overall pick. You think Caleb Williams, Drake May, Marvin Harrison Jr., all that good stuff. But be sure to click the link in the description. You get 125%, like they said, on your first 3 deposits, 24/7 customer service, 24-hour payouts. Thank you so much, BetUS, for sponsoring this video and for being a sponsor for a very long time with this channel. I greatly appreciate it. So now let's jump into Christian Wilkins and talk about what's happening. So again, he is not, apparently per source, he's not being franchise tagged. And I'm going to pull it up. What the franchise tag price is, I think it's around 20-something million. For the defensive tackle, it is $22.1 million. It is the 3rd highest franchise tag you could put. Quarterback being number 1, 38.3. Linebacker being number 2, 24. And defensive tackle with wide receiver right behind it with 21.8. It used to not always be that high for the defensive tackles, but it is real high. So what does this mean? Now, are the Dolphins going to lose Christian Wilkins? Is he a foregone conclusion that he is officially gone? Again, I'm not going to sit here and try to give you hope. So let me start with the negative. It's not good. He might go out there and some of these teams that have buco bucks that kind of want to go after him. Patriots have like 101. The Commanders have 91. Bears have 78. Worst case scenario, he goes to New England. He is from up there. He is a Celtics fan. He goes to the Patriots. We have to play him twice a year because they have the money to pay him. So there is a possibility he's gone. A very big possibility. But there's also another possibility. Now, the Dolphins have been trying to get him under contract for 2 off seasons now. They tried last off season. If you remember, he wasn't happy with what they offered him. He did a sit-in, which means he still came to training camp, but didn't participate. And then the season started. He was like, look, I'm just going to worry about playing the season, yada, yada, because he wanted 20 plus million and the Dolphins weren't offering him 20 plus million because he never got a lot of sacks. Lo and behold, he bet on himself and he won. He got 9 sacks this season. Now he's like, hey, I want to be paid upwards of Quinnen Williams and all those guys. Even in the offseason of 2022, they tried to get him under contract. They tried to get him under contract, couldn't come to an agreement. Then they put the 5th-year option on him. So the Dolphins for 2 years, this isn't a situation where the Dolphins sat back, sat on their hands, and then it became too late and they couldn't. For 2 years, they've been trying to get him under contract. And he just bet on himself and he won. And now the Dolphins are like, all right. So what does this mean, right? No franchise tag. Now, I would have preferred them to franchise tag him, try to get something for him. There are some teams out there that need a defensive tackle, that need a very good defensive tackle, that the Dolphins could possibly get some picks for. I would have preferred that. I honestly thought, and I think, you tag him, then you try to trade him. And, what you could do is you try to get some compensation, because some of these teams don't want to compete, don't want to outbid each other, because then you overpay for certain players. If all of a sudden he hits the market and his market price is like 21 million, all of a sudden you're paying 26 because the Cardinals will pay him 21. And then the Texans say, I'll pay him 22. And then the Colts come out and say, I'll pay him 23. And then, whereas you just trade for him, you get to negotiate and you get to come up with it. And I named some of the teams that were a possibility. You got the Cardinals, 56 million in cap space, Texans 70, Colts 70. You got the Titans at 75. You got the Bears at 78. You got the Commanders at 91. All of these teams they could have possibly traded with to get some type of compensation. And then they could have made a contract move. But like I said, they're not going to tag him. So he's just going to go out there and test the free agent market. Before I get into the tampering, which kind of coincides with what I'm going to talk about with Wilkins, I do want to talk about the compensatory pick, the comp picks. I don't know why I try to say the whole thing. The comp picks. And I talked about this in my previous video a couple of days ago, whatever. If he signs and when he signs a big fat contract with one of these teams, which I expect to be I actually probably think he'll go to the Texans. The Texans or the Bears, I think he'll go to. But when he signs that fat contract, the Dolphins will probably get a third-round comp pick. If he plays the full year. Because they were supposed to get a comp pick for Juwan James. They're supposed to get a third. He never played. He played like 5 games in that year and ended up getting a 5th in the option. So there are there are criteria that have to be met to get that comp pick, which kind of sucks. Once he signs with another team, you shouldn't be punished for how he performs with that other team. It's stupid, but that's how it is. All right, let's get into the tampering period. The NFL tampering period starts the 11th to the 13th, so they get 3 days, about 2 days and a couple hours before the league year starts. And a lot of times you're going to hear during this tampering period that so-and-so has agreed to terms with so-and-so. None of it's official until 4:00 on the 13th. None of it. So you can, it's kind of like a gentleman's agreement. You can agree to terms, but then you can be like, oh, so-and-so is going to pay me more money. Oh, so-and-so is going to give me more. Oh, this and that. So like the trade for Christian Wilkins, for Jalen Ramsey, that was done. And then it wasn't official until Wednesday at 4:00. So a lot of this you're going to hear like Chris Jones has agreed to terms with whoever, and then he could say, you know what, so-and-so is going to give me more money, blah, blah, blah. So just give you a little backstory on the tampering period. The tampering period also really does help teams with pending free agents because nothing's official. So for those 2 days, those 2.5 days, these free agents are going to go out and they're going to test the free agent market. Their agents are going to go out. They're going to contact teams. Hey, da-da-da-da-da. So say the Dolphins offered Christian Wilkins $21 million a year, right? And, his cap hit won't be that big this year. And, it'll go up, blah, 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 whatever. However the contract's structured. Overall, you do the full contract amount divided by the amount of years. It's around $21 million. And he's like, no, I want 23, 24. And they're like, all right, well, we're not going to franchise tag you. So go ahead, go do what you got to do. And for those 2 days, he goes and talks to the Patriots. He goes and talks to the Bears. He goes and talks to the Texans, the Colts, the Lions, the Cardinals. He talks to all these teams and no one offers him more than $21 million. His agent might come back to Miami being that he's played there for so long. He's got a good friend and sealer. He has a house down there already. It's non-tax state, all that stuff. And his agent might call Miami back up and say, will you do 21.5? Will you do 22? Will you come up a little bit from your 21? And the Dolphins might say, yeah, we'll go to 21. We'll go to 22, but, we'll just add a certain stipulation in the contract. Boom, he's back a Dolphin. That is a very real possibility. Will it happen? Probably not. I don't know. But those are the things that happen during the tampering period that you don't hear. Because during the tampering period, you'll hear that, oh, so-and-so re-signed with their team. So-and-so re-signed with their team. You never hear the behind-the-scenes stuff that player has gone around to other teams and realized he's not getting as much as he thinks he's going to get, and he just went back with his team. Another player that might happen with Xavier Howard. He might have his cap hit or his contract yearly amount to be, because he was going to get like 25, 24 with the Dolphins. He might think of like, oh, I should get at least 15. And he might go to all these teams and they might offer him 8. And the Dolphins will say, we'll give you 8. We'll give you 9. And you've been here. You know what we're about. And he might go back to Miami. So again, the tampering period helps the team that is losing the player, because it says, okay, like Robert Hunt. I'm going to make a whole video about the tampering period and how it helps, but I just want to give you a little taste, because Robert Hunt is thinking he's getting $17 million a year. We'll see. But I'm going to make a whole video talking about the tampering period. I'll give you more insight, give you more stuff like that. But Christian Wilkins isn't getting tagged. Are we officially losing him? Is he going to officially be gone as a Miami Dolphin? No. Is it likely? Probably. But there's a lot of moves that are still going to happen this week with restructuring, with cuts, with all that stuff, because the Dolphins still need to get under the cap. They're $31 million over. They still need to get under the cap. The Bills, the Dolphins, the Chargers, the Saints, the Broncos, the Cowboys, and the 49ers need to get under the cap. Now, the 49ers only $285,000. They can do that easily. The Broncos just cut Russell Wilson. They're eating a huge dead cap by cutting Russell Wilson, but they're saving, I don't remember how much they're saving, but they're saving a good amount. His guaranteed salary is 17, so they're saving like, my brain, 18 million. So a lot of teams need to get under the cap, so you're going to see a lot of these moves happening. But I got a ton of content for you this week. Free agent stuff, some little news and notes I'm hearing, all that stuff. So I'll see you in the next one. Probably tomorrow, maybe later tonight. We'll see if other news breaks. But like usual, stay classy. FN's up.